Happy Friday, Miami. This is Buy, Sell, Hold Miami, a real estate podcast. I'm Peter Zalewski, condo consultant, expert witness, founder of the Miami Condo Investing Club. I'm joined here by my partner, my co-host, the moderator, Daniel Hernandez with Compass Real Estate. He's a real estate advisor over in Coconut Grove. He does single-family houses as well as condos. What's going on, Daniel? How are you?
What's up, Peter? I hadn't seen you in the flesh in so long, and we had a nice little dinner at Flanagan's. We're planning for, not to take away from today's show, but we're planning a really big show next week. Peter, it's our anniversary.
1 year anniversary. Who would have thought?
52 episodes will have been completed at the end of next Friday. But today, it's episode 51, baby. And we got a great show for everybody. And if you're just joining us for the first time today, this is Buy, Sell, Hold. In the bottom left of your screen, if you're watching us on the horizontal screens, that is the rundown. If you're watching us on mobile, it's right there in the middle. And those are some stories that Peter and I throw back and forth throughout the week. And on Fridays, we settle on them and we talk about them. They're statements. And at the end of each of those statements, we got you for an hour, so about 10 minutes for each statement. We're either going to buy because we agree, we're going to sell because we disagree, or we're going to hold because, well, it's Miami, and just like the weather, business ebbs and business flows. So I want to jump right into it. First topic is nobody wants to buy at the Delmore. And the Delmore, it sounds very Art Deco-y, doesn't it, Peter?
I almost confused it with the Delano or Delano, depending on which generation you're from. They're going to be putting up a new condo. PMG's to put it up with that name, Delano or Delano, which is Madonna, which is Ian Schrager, which is Chris Pacello. But we're not talking about that era. We're talking about a new era with that one. But I'm completely confused because now we're talking about Surfside and I'm talking about Miami Beach. All confusing.
It's not branded. They just, I guess, put into ChatGPT, give me an Art Deco sounding name, and they got it. And why would they have to ChatGPT it? Well, because they're from the Middle East. Peter, they've never, ever been, not even to Miami, but to the United States before. This is their first one, and they picked Surfside. Not only did they pick Surfside, they picked a highly stigmatized site because this is where the Champagne Towers fell down.
5 years ago, next month, 5 year anniversary, the world changed just like 1992, August. Hurricane Andrew changed everything. So did this particular site, the Champlain Tower South. When it went down, nearly 100 people died, nearly $1 billion settlement paid out to the families of the victims. Everything has changed in the condo world. You got the cost of condo living has skyrocketed. And yet, here we go. We got a developer that can be building on that site, or at least trying to, from what they say.
Gentleman by the name of Hussein Sajwani. And he takes a moniker out of Dubai. They call him the Donald Trump of Dubai, probably because he was the developer behind the Trump International Golf Club in Doral. And then he took this site down, highly contentious. A lot of the families wanted a memorial built on that site, which I get it. And then I also get the other side of it, and we're going to be talking a lot about Miami Beach today. But if a developer wants to come in and buy dirt and build a thing, that's their job. That's what they do. And he launched the pre-sales of this, I think, back in January 25. And Peter, from the developer, they interviewed them. On the record, they have not sold a single unit. Maybe because the units start at $15 million and run all the way up to $150 million, which, look, I get it. Everybody wants to be Nadim Ashi. Nadim Ashi is the gentleman behind Fort Partners. He put up the Four Seasons Surfside. He JV'd with Ugo Colombo to do the Four Seasons in Coconut Grove. He just closed on something close to $400 million in sales in his little boutique building just north of the surf club. Only 11 units. That's what, $35 million a unit? Not
Big numbers.
Big numbers. Not everybody can be Jay-Z, though, and especially if you're coming in as a newbie from out of the country. Because, this ain't just like coming in and building. You're building in a market. It's a tough market. You're building on a very contentious site. You're building in an environment at a price point where, how many buyers are there for $50 million condos? Fewer than there are for $5 million condos. That's how many. So, what's the move here? Do they pick up the phone and call David Martin and JV with him because he wants to JV with everybody these days?
Yeah, David Martin's an interesting name to bring up. David Martin's put up the guy who put up the project immediately south of Surfside that collapsed, the Champlain Tower South. His 87 Park is located immediately south of where Champlain Tower South went down. So David Martin would be a very interesting type of person to kind of bring that up there. But everything was resolved, kind of when they did the settlement, when they paid out the $1 billion to the families of the victims. I don't believe it. I don't believe that this developer's not sold a unit. I find it very hard to believe. Developers are, I mean, their world is based on hyperbole. You want a perfect example? Look at the condo developer we have in the Oval Office. There's a lot of stuff that they put out on the street. There's a lot of stuff that they say. I wouldn't count on any of it. None of it is actually defendable. This is not like Elon Musk tweeting out something and then Securities and Exchange Commission comes after him.
So what's the end game here? Why would you lie about most developers want to embellish on the amount of sales that they've had? Why would you say that there's been no sales?
And it's a good question why there would be no sales. I can't imagine somebody wouldn't step up. I can't imagine you can't bring in your cadre, you can't bring in your follower, you can't bring in your family and friends to come up here and so say you're supposedly doing it. Maybe it is a ploy to try to upzone. Maybe it's a ploy to try to gather sympathy. Maybe it's a poor me play. And when you drop that kind of cash on dirt, I don't think it can be a poor me. Maybe it's a negotiating tactic, and if you put it out there, then ultimately the site becomes a little bit of an issue. It's stigmatized, as you say. Maybe you can sort of turn the, you can kind of turn the tables. I mean, keep in mind what Surfside is. So keep in mind and understand what Surfside, Bell Harbor, Bay Harbor Islands are. They're a community with the various price levels, and they all have different municipalities in terms of boundaries. Surfside will hit its niche. Then you're going to have Bell Harbor to the north. 96th Street will be the divider. Immediately south of that is Miami Beach. Immediately north of it is going to be the Haulover Inlet. And by the way, Daniel, you know what they call it, the Haulover Inlet? This is very interesting. I was doing trivia when I was doing a tour for Sunny Isles Beach. You know where the origin of the Haulover Inlet comes from, the name?
No, I don't.
So before they basically cut through and create that inlet, that was the shortest point. Think Panama Canal. Shortest point where you could get from sort of the bay and the inland over to the Atlantic. So there were some guys who used to hang out there, old man,
you
whoever.
Had to haul it over?
You would actually haul your whatever you're, not vessel, but haul your boat or little skiff, whatever. They would haul it over. They were guys. That was their job, take it from one side over to the other side. And but because of all the pollution and everything going on in the bay, when the go-go days 100 years ago in Miami, they ultimately carved it out in order to create some sort of circular motion. So all of that dredge and everything else, the dirt and grime and everything else wasn't just staying in the bay. So interesting, but that's a little bit different concept. But where I'm going with this is, so you got Surfside, you got Bell Harbor to the west, you're going to have Bay Harbor Islands. That whole area basically is one community. It's separate municipalities. Bell Harbor is going to be like really the expensive part. Think Brickell if you're thinking Greater Downtown Miami. Surfside would be this central business district, and then Bay Harbor Islands probably give you more in the Edgewater type of area. But everybody's there for a particular reason, a particular sense, a particular community. In this particular area where this developer's going in there, I don't know if he's necessarily going to be accepted. I don't know if he necessarily fits in with everything else that's going on over there. Maybe there's some sort of issue there. Maybe there's some sort of, he's not part of the community, therefore people don't want to get involved. I don't know, but I do not believe he could not sell one condo unit in this market. We got Ken Billions, we got Mark Zuckerberg, we got Jared Kushner right up the street. Jared Kushner, the son-in-law of President Trump, he's cutting all kinds of deals with UAE. United Arab Emirates, all kinds of deals in Dubai. He practically lives in Dubai besides living in South Florida. How can you not sell a condo? Dubai. Do not believe it.
He's from Dubai, and he's really cushy with the Trumps. He was in Mar-a-Lago. You don't buy it?
I'm not buying it. I think there's another angle here. I mean, when something is so difficult to understand, it typically means you don't have all of the details, all the information. We don't have all the information in a market where hyperbole flows, in a market where we have condo towers going up named after a cabaret, don't call it a strip joint. How can you not sell a condo on a site like this? It happened 5 years ago. What's the statute of limitations about forgetting stuff? I remember when a guy who's got something called Emerge America now, he was building a tower on Brickell Avenue called the Four Seasons. Yeah. Manny Medina, he was putting it up. He's putting up the Four Seasons. All of a sudden we get the, September 11th. Nobody wanted to go on a high rise. People were afraid to go on a high rise. And eventually, a decade later, they're ultimately able to sell everything else. So I think this is just a moment of time. I do not believe it. I think there's more to the story than we're led to believe, and I would not be surprised if somehow, some way, there's not a poor me play in order to try to get some kind of change or adjustment. But I'm purely speculating. But I'm not speculating on the fact that it's impossible to not sell one unit. Somebody's got to step up and buy a unit, or at least give a handshake. So
The
I'm not buying it all. Highly
the
skeptical.
the dumpster unit here is $15 million though.
Well, that's what they say on paper. Everything is set on paper. When you start going through the numbers, the closed sales data, you start to see there's serious arbitrage that goes on in these buildings. You look at pricing. Like, for instance, we were taking a look at Flow House. This is the condo conversion that Adam Newman, the guy from WeWorks,
He took
formerly
down from
WeWork, that he
Shatreat,
put up.
right?
Yeah. And we were looking at pricing between, and I'm going off memory here, ballpark 700 a foot to 1,500 a foot. This is how dramatic the pricing is. So whatever a salesperson tells you, understand what their role is. They're on the sell side. They are trying to get you to believe that the trees will grow to the moon. And it never happens. There's always a way to cut a deal. Sometimes your first deal, you cut it, you give them a discount to get somebody in the door. So I'm not buying this. I don't believe this. I think there's another angle here. We just simply don't have the information thus far.
Buy, sell, hold. Nobody wants to buy at the Dalmac. At the
Pound the
Delmore.
table,
Buy
sell.
Dalmac.
Pound the
You're
table,
selling
sell.
it? I'm
Sell.
holding. I'm holding. I think they're fishing. I think they're fishing, but I think they're fishing for a J. They want out. They're like, you know what? Maybe this.
I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that.
I think maybe they're like, hey, listen, we don't want to come back like a dog with our tail between our legs. We're not just going to go to the cell block. We're going to put it out there that we're having a little tough time, and without saying it explicitly, we're inviting people to come and JV with us.
Well, which is what a lot of times people will do to generate interest. They'll go ahead and do an auction, try to bring in a bunch of different people, and hopefully you can bid them up, and then JV it out, call it a day, move along. But Daniel, one thing before you move on, how the heck do we attack Iran on February the 28th? How the heck does the bubble, this insulation of Dubai, suddenly become a major factor? How does Miami not step up in terms of the world city types of communities? And how does a Dubai developer not be able to bring people from Dubai and get their tails over here to the barrier island in Miami-Dade County, regardless if people died on it or not? That's the part that's not adding up to me.
Well said, sir. Well, this branding thing is getting out of control. We got more branded towers. You were talking about Dubai. We're second only to Dubai in this whole branded tower thing. We got, and I wrote them down, we got Aston Martin, Bentley, Pagani, Mercedes-Benz, and those are just the cars. We got fashion towers, Bulgaria, Monte Casa, Missoni, Fendi, Dolce & Gabbana. I don't think that's getting built. Porsche Design. And then you get into the hospitality branded ones. St. Regis, Waldorf, Ritz, Four Seasons, Baccarat, the standard residences, Edition. We don't have to talk about them today because that's an entirely different show, but ask the guys at Two Roads and Biscayne 21 about that. Vlad's building the Aman in Miami Beach. Six Senses is coming in here. And now you got Nobu, which is backed by the actor. You talking to me? Robert De Niro.
De Niro. Pacino, De Niro, same.
Yeah, same. So we have so many branded condos, and there was one that we talked about a few weeks ago on Buy, Sell, Hold, and it's over on Biscayne and 36. And for anybody that doesn't know where Biscayne and 36 is, I'm going to pull it up for the gang. It is right over here. So Biscayne and 36 is this intersection. And when there was a Denny's on the northwest corner, a Shell on the northeast corner, a Taco Bell on the southeast corner, and an office building, dilapidated, but they're redoing it, on the southwest corner, the traffic was already insane. And now everything except for the Taco Bell, thank God, love Taco Bell. If you don't like Taco Bell, you're not a real foodie. Just saying. One man's opinion. But that red square there is going to be the Anantara, which is a brand coming out of Thailand. They're marketing it as the one from the White Lotus, except I thought it was the Four Seasons Koh Samui. We won't have to get into it. Yell at me, correct me later. But the folks from the 1000 group, and those are the guys who put up 1000 Museum, the swan song of the late Zaha Hadid over there in downtown, they took this lot down, and they're putting up a luxury condo tower with this Thai hotel brand backing it. it's tough. Listen, like the Mercedes, this is not a luxury condo site. My opinion. You're not on the water. You're on I-195. You're not in the design district because you got to go under the overpass for that. You're not in Midtown because Midtown is on the other side of the tracks, and you're not close enough to the edge of the water to be in Edgewater. You are in the middle of nothing while you're in the middle of a terrible intersection. So what are these brands thinking, Peter? I mean, are they just saying like, I'll take the money, I'll take your licensing fee, and, maybe it works, maybe it doesn't?
Well, I think the answer is pretty obvious. They know Carlos Rosso is putting up a bunch of paddled pickleball courts. Maybe they think there's going to be a bunch of people who need hotel space to go ahead and play in his pickleball courts over there at Midtown Miami.
You got to cross 36 and a bunch of train tracks. The most fatal train in the world crosses through. Not the most fatal train in the world. I'm embellishing, but the Bright Line, which is our quote unquote high speed train, it goes 70 miles an hour. I mean, the Japanese are laughing at us.
For the time being, according to Miami Herald.
I know. Per the Miami Herald, it doesn't seem like they're going to last very much longer. For that project that Peter's talking about, by the way, that's down here. That's the Rosso project, Midtown by Proper. That's what they're calling it?
It's something like, everybody calls it the old Walmart site because Walmart wasn't able to put a site up over there.
It is the old Walmart site.
Yep.
One instance of the community banding together and saying, get the hell out of here. But so this particular site, and this is about branded condos. I'm just picking on these guys because they launched this, and I think it's ridiculous that they're putting a luxury brand right up alongside an underpass where, you got homeless people. So come on.
Listen, what I would say is, I was being sarcastic about being close, obviously, the pickleball courts. But listen, they're paddleboard, pickleball, whatever the hell it is. They're just filling up space so they can build more over there. By the way, so but what I will say though is if and the developers on this particular site is that Greg Kovens and Louis Birdman? Is it the same developers? Same individuals.
1,000 Group. I don't know them by name.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe. Yeah, that's them.
Okay, so back in the day, if anybody went down Biscayne Boulevard across from what's today's Museum Park, it used to be called Bicentennial Park. And Bicentennial Park basically was where all the homeless people got to go. So the homeless people would spend a day there, or housing challenge, whatever they call it. Then on the other side of Biscayne Boulevard, in a little bit, in and around where the Apple store was Camille's house. And this is where you had a lot of the homeless people. So you had a bunch of stuff there. You'd have 1- and 2-story buildings that were primarily warehouses. The air conditioner compressors, which were up on the roof, they would have it all barred in because people would steal them and they would take them down to the river and they would hawk it off. You had Howard Johnson was located over there where the Hojo went up. Where the Marquee went up. You had a gas station with a Greyhound bus stop. Greyhound used to bring people in, drop them off there. They'd wander around. This was a no-go type of zone 20 years ago. And you know what Birdman and Kovens did? They went in there and they put up 10 Museum. 10 Museum was the first tower to go in and around there. They had the vision. They had the cojones. They had the mangoes, whatever you want to call it. And they put up 10 Museum. And when they bought the site, they had the one next door, which was the Zaha Hadid site. I think there was a gas station leased BP or somebody at the time.
Yeah, you should park to go to the Heat games.
Yeah, well, you knew that place because they were always $1 to $1.50 more a gallon on gasoline. Imagine with today's gas prices and add another $1.50, you feel like you're in California. But that's a different story. But Kovens and Birdman, for them to go in there and sort of take a shot at it, I'm just saying these guys have put it up before. They understand what it takes. They're not newbie developers. Why I might not necessarily like the site, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt just because they tend to go in and they do stuff. I think they were doing a project up in Hallandale Beach, right on the golf course, immediately north of Hallandale Beach Boulevard, not too far from the Diplomat. So if they're going in there, they're running their numbers. These are smart SOBs, and I mean SOB in a positive term. They know what they're doing. If they're going in there, I'm going to give them the benefit of doubt. Maybe it's a coin toss. I don't know what that brand is. I've been to Thailand a bunch of times. Love it down there. I couldn't tell you about the brand. I don't watch the show, so I don't know that part. But the location makes sense from a hotelier perspective. If these guys really want to bank it and take advantage of what's going on in the Design District, what they need to do is they need to talk to the mayor. Mayor Higgins, take that Metro Mover. Get that damn thing all the way north into the design district, and all of a sudden, all this stuff will start to work because it all basically stops in and around where the Omni Mall is, the Venetian Causeway. You add a Metro Mover extension anywhere in and around there, and all of a sudden, it all kind of comes together. So, whatever the
Or
case may be, I would bet the jockey on this one, even though it looks like they got a long shot.
Or here's a crazy idea. Why don't we start another massive public works project? Take that existing overpass, the I-195, make it another signature bridge. I don't have a name for it. We'll just call it the other signature bridge. And then we build a linear park that we don't have funding for under that to connect Midtown and Wynwood and the design district. It would be wonderful. And then you would have my blessing with this. But as it sits right now, dude, look at this. I mean, I can't get under this underpass because that's we're not there with Google yet, but it's an underpass. And the hotel is right on it.
But remember, they're repositioning these underpasses. They're starting to get incorporated into stuff. They got an interesting vibe. It's a cool vibe. You're going from the design district over to Midtown. If you ever do that walk,
say,
you put under the underpass.
Pepe's cheesesteak and pizza. It's amazing.
Oh, I haven't been.
I'm hardly an authority on cheesesteak, but I'm a fat boy at heart, and that is so freaking good. They got the sesame roll. I digress. Buy, sell, hold. This branding thing is getting out of control.
Oh, branding thing getting out of control. Yeah, pound the table, buy on that.
But buy. I'm a buy on that. For the record, Peter's giving these guys benefit of the doubt. I think they're out of their freaking minds. But
bet the jockey.
He's betting the jockey. Bet the horse, bet the jockey, bet the
number.
Shit. There you go. Bet the number. Tenants are flowing into Wynwood. That's a pun because we're talking about Flow House. We're talking about Adam Newman. So Adam Newman just took out PMG out of their equity stake, and it's called Society Wynwood. It's a multifamily that they developed with Graybrook Properties, and yeah, it just finished like at 2023, 2024, and Flow, which is Adam Newman's new multifamily. He's graduated on from WeWork. He's not doing office spaces anymore. He's doing apartments. He's got something like 5,000 units in the pipeline, and he's realized, hey, you know what? This construction thing is really expensive. I don't want to deal with this. So he's buying stabilized product, sort of putting a tech into it and making yoga classes and all this fun stuff. And he's creating kind of this cohesive brand. And I've pushed back a lot on Adam Newman because, well, I don't really like how he imploded a $45 billion company. But from a real estate perspective, I do see what he's doing. Like any small mom and pop multifamily real estate czar, they'll build a fourplex or an eightplex, and they got 10 units over here and 30 units over here. But he's really trying to build this cohesive brand around this Flow thing. My question is, does anybody really even want to live in Wynwood?
The short answer is no. There's nothing in Wynwood. It was Wynwood walls. That was the whole thing.
There are 900 units up for rent in Wynwood today. Ken Billions went into Wynwood. He spent like $100 and something million on space there. I mean, there is capital flowing into Wynwood, but are they just throwing money at a wall and seeing what sticks? I mean, are they too far gone that they're like, shit, in order to get out of this hole, we just got to dig out to China on the other side? What's going on?
All right. So there's 2 points here. One is the Wynwood point. The other one's the Adam Newman point. Adam Newman point. Listen, Adam, we figured out your strategy. We know what the hell you're up to. Why? Because we're running the numbers. You know what Adam's doing? You want to know what Adam's doing? It's real simple, Peter, for anybody paying attention. So Adam Newman is connected to Silicon Valley. He's connected to VC, venture capital money, angel investor, all that type of stuff. So many developers, what they do is when they build, they sell to individuals, okay? People, one-offs. Adam, what he's doing is he's bundling and packaging units, and he's selling to the VC world, if you will. He's selling to those. He's not looking to sell one-off units. He's looking to sell them in packages.
That's Adam Newman, the condo developer. We're talking multifamily.
Yeah, well, but today's multifamily is tomorrow's condo. Remember, Flow House was conversion. That was a rental. Same thing with Shatreat, who I had done consulting for the record. So Shatreat, they built as a rental. He bought it. He's going to turn to condos. This is the game. You spend 200 grand. You go to an attorney. They got a template. Search, find, replace. They change the name of the project, change the number of units, file with the state. State notifies Tomas Regalado, property appraiser, overnight. Well, 6 months later, you got a condo. That's all he's doing. He's building it up, but he's not looking to sell. They're trying to, but they're not having any success because of pricing. So they're packaging them and they're selling them like you would go to Dunkin' Donuts or you go to a bagel shop or you go to Daily Bread or anything like that. You buy enough of them, they give you enough of a discount. You go in there, now you can run it on your own. That's what I really think is a strategy. So for him to continue to acquire and do these types of condo conversions, it would tell me that he can peddle this product to his circles, because I don't see how they're selling them to the one-off individual. So that was what that is. Now, in terms of Wynwood, let's go back to when I was a journalist. I was a journalist, and typically what you would do is you get a story idea. You pitch your story idea, and then you would start to what they do call report it out. You talk to sources. So there were two ways to do a story. One story, you knew what the story was, and now you need to find somebody to say it. Okay. The other story was you went in there open-minded and you figured it out. What they're doing in Wynwood is they got the story. Now they need somebody to say it. They need somebody to kind of fit into the mold.
So you're saying they need people to live in it. That's what you're saying.
The mold was established during the Great Recession when all the New Yorkers came down here and said, oh my God, this is the Village, this is Soho, this is whatever. They all came down with the mindset that's what this will be, and they've worked to create that. The market hasn't created that. This has not been demand driven. This has been more so, we're going to replicate what we did up in New York. Look at old man Goldman, Tony Goldman, the guy with the cowboy hat. That's what he was doing. They're building this based on what they did in New York, and they're assuming people are going to come, build it and they will come type of thing. I'm not necessarily sure that it's there because there's no barrier to entry. What is the redeeming characteristic? You can't even go to Austin Burke. You can't go to Wynwood Brewery. It's all gone. What is the redeeming characteristic to go into this neighborhood? Is it close to the water? No. Do you have the trolley? Maybe. Do you got to worry about crime? Absolutely. Do you have quick access to I-95? No. I mean, why do you go in that area? It doesn't make any sense to me. It was a FOMO.
You got it. You got it to spend, and this is November 25 numbers. Wynwood apartment rent, $3,444 a month, up 6% year over year. Studios at $2,600 a month. One bedrooms at $3,000. Two bedrooms at $4,000. Three bedrooms at $5,500. It's a submarket where 75% of the people there are renters. And then I guess everybody else is just a Airbnb short-term rental owner. So I would assume that they're just renting those out short-term. So are there... I don't see Wynwood as a place where people are buying condos to live in.
No, it's an Airbnb type of investment, I would say. That's probably what a lot of people are doing.
I guess we just got to wait till these things deliver and then, hear through the grapevine when people try to resell these things. Oh, like, why are you selling it? Oh, because I'm not making any money on it. I don't know. Or is there enough demand that these little Airbnb investment units are a replacement for hotels?
Well, I think they are, but then again, your boy Ken Billions, he had a hotel in his office building. He decided to strip that away because there's no need for hotels.
There's so much demand for office. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they're building it and they're expecting the people to come. I'm not sure that they're coming, so I would have to go on the other side of that. Look at that, Daniel. We're talking about a gas station site, and I'm bullish on it, or I'm at least willing to give them a chance. And then in Wynwood, I'm going the other way. No way to gauge where I'm going today.
Mercury's in retrograde this month, I suppose.
Exactly.
Buy, sell, hold tenants are flowing into Wynwood.
I would be. I'm going to be a hold. I'm going to be a hold, just because the way it's quoted, it's stated.
I think the tenants are flowing in. I don't think that they'll be buyers. I don't think a tenant is going to be an owner of a condo there. Like you'll graduate to buying property, but it won't be in Wynwood. And it also like the age range of the people who live in there. There are no 45-year-old professionals living in Wynwood, at least not today. And I don't see that in the near term. Well, This is the spicy one for today. And Peter and I were talking about this before we hopped on. The DeVille dirt is worth the fight. So I'm going to give everybody some background. What are we talking about? We're talking about the DeVille. If you've never heard of the DeVille before, legendary hotel. And when I say legendary, I mean like Frank Sinatra. I mean Sammy Davis Jr. The Beatles, Peter, the Beatles played not their first time, that was in New York, but the second time they played on the Ed Sullivan Show, it was at this place, up on North Miami Beach, up in 67th and Collins. This place was legendary, but that was like 60 years ago. Today, it is no more. It's been torn down. In 2017, Hurricane Irma came by. There was an electrical fire. They let it fall into disrepair. Who is the they? It's the Morello family. And the Morello family, big money, property owners. They span the entire country. They're in Miami. They're in Vegas. They're in California. They got radio stations and TV stations. But we're here to talk about the real estate because that's what we do here on Buy, Sell, Hold. And why are we talking about him? Well, David Martin, Terra, acquired a 25% stake in this DeVille for $12.5 million. And when I saw that, I was like, wow, what a deal. Well, some of the heirs of that family thought it was too good to be true. So much so that they filed a lawsuit and accused Mr. Martin of defrauding old woman Belinda Morello, who's 88 years old. She's the matriarch of this family. And the main point of this case is that a couple years ago, Stephen Ross had come in and offered to buy the whole lot for $500 million. So 10x effectively of what David Martin's $12.5 million at 25% would have been worth. So 12.5 times 4, 50 million, you get it. So Ross pulled out of this because he wanted a variance from the city, and he lost. They needed a referendum to get the variance. He lost that. He bailed, and he said, take your lot back. So David Martin comes in, and he made a deal. Like, I listen, I am the first person to say that seniors are taken advantage of all the time in this town, but that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about real estate. And David Martin, holy cannoli, if he's able to pull this off, if they're able to get this lawsuit dismissed and this thing can go forward, what a deal. $50 million for that lot. I'm going to pull it up for the gang so they can see how beautiful this thing is. Look at this. Bingo, bango. That's just supposed to work on a shortcut. But here we go. That's the DeVille, guys. It's a nearly 4-acre lot smack dab right there on the beach. Just to give you some context, Peter, what did DeMac pay for that site where the Champlain Towers were?
Oh, wasn't it? It's like north of $100 million, wasn't it?
Yeah, north of $100 million.
Yeah.
Little itty bitty site compared to this monster, an arguably better location here.
Well, it's about 20 blocks north.
Right. So there's this infighting. They don't know what they're going to do. David Martin's probably pulling his hair out because of the legal fees that are going to come onto it. Even if they dismiss it, he's going to have to spend $1 bazillion on lawyers. It's just, but I guess that's just being a developer in this town, isn't it, Peter?
Listen, there are so many layers to this story. I think there's a couple things to kind of keep in mind. All right, so we're talking about Stephen Ross, the guy who owns the Miami Dolphins. He's got related companies out of New York. He came down here. He now pretty much does stuff in Palm Beach County. George Perez and the related group and his sons, they kind of run the related group down here. So just for point of reference, David Martin, he did a project with a guy called Russell Galbit in Miami Beach, project called 5 Park. So I'm just kind of laying out the players. So we got David Martin with experience with Russell Galbit. We have David Martin with experience. He built with the Related Group, hasn't he? Did he do a project with the Related Group, David Martin, or no? Or am I having a senior moment?
Maybe.
Here? Okay, well,
you're not that old.
We'll sort of discount that. Where am I going with all this? Well, here's where I'm going. This is the way it all kind of comes full circle. What is it? 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon or something? Isn't that what that phrase is? So 1990s. Let's go back in that time machine. Let's go back to the time machine. 1990s. The Brazilians were humming. The economy was blowing up. It was going great. All the developers came up here. You had a group that went into the Brickell Avenue, or they were buying up a bunch of stuff, and you had another guy out of Rio, a guy called Musio Ataide.
What a
Musio came
name.
in and he sets up, he's the biggest developer in Rio at the time. He's since passed, at least according to the research I've done. So old man Ataide comes up here. He's got this grand vision. He's going to make an impression. He buys a bunch of lots. He's going to dot the coast of Miami Beach with diamonds. We get the
Oh,
blue
the
and the
blue
green
diamond,
diamond.
the green diamond.
Yes,
This was going
he's
to be a
going
diamond?
forward. He's going, well, hold on. He's going forward with the white diamond, and he does like they say in Tampa, tits up. It goes sideways on him. The market goes sideways. He's not able to get it all sort of completed. He's got to dump the dirt. The dirt gets dumped into court, according to press reports. And you know who buys it? Belinda Morello. They get involved because they buy that
Ah.
site. They put up
So
the
they,
Akoya. If anybody looks at the Akoya, 60, what is it,
oh, it kind of looks
63,
like a diamond.
65 Collins, and
Right
compare
here.
it to the blue and the green diamond, the only thing that's different is the top. The top on this one's exposed. The one on the blue and the green diamond are encased and they light up. That was supposed to be a white diamond. That's how the Morellos, I would argue, basically get their really kind of make their name here. They then follow suit and they pick off the Deauville site, which is right up the street. They pick off that site and they're trying to figure out what the hell to do with it because it's historically significant. What you said with the Beatles and everything else, they actually were selling, Daniel. They were selling condo hotels on the Deauville site. So when they were able to
Really?
go forward, yeah, when they were able to go forward and peddle that thing and try to get rid of it to Ross, I guess they must have gone back and bought everybody out. But I remember going to and viewing and walking some of these sites. This place was spectacular. The pool area was just fantastic. It was just, this was
Like a
old school
real
Frank
Art
Sinatra.
Deco hotel.
Oh, so when you came to the site, there was like a ramp going up. That was a driveway, effectively for the valet, and it had like these arches all, and it had the Deauville name on the outside with the glitter and the Art Deco, and then right up the street was Canyon Ranch. Don't forget, Canyon Ranch was originally the
Carillon.
Carillon. So what the play was at a time is North Beach. Which is going to be that area from 63rd Street on to let's say where Surfside is. The reason you hung out there is that you'd have the hotel, you had the beach, you then get on 71st Street, you go due west through North Bay Village. When you got on the mainland, you were Hightail right to Hialeah Racetrack. You could go there, spend the day at
Play
Hialeah's
some
racetrack.
highlight.
You whatever you wanted to do. So people would it became a whole thing. Then the market went through all kind of changes, so on and so forth. So where am I going with all this, Musio Ataidi? Because of his white and green, well, not white, but blue and green diamond, City of Miami Beach adopted a requirement where people had to vote on heights of buildings. So
They've
old man
they've gotten
Ataidi,
rid of it. They got rid of it though.
is it gone now for good?
Well, so after the Ross thing happened, that was like the last referendum that, well, I don't know if it was about the height, but it was about the Florida area ratio. He wanted the variance for Florida area ratio to go from like 3 to 4.5. He couldn't get it. I don't know if it was because of height, but that makes a lot of sense.
But so Musio does it when Russell's trying to build Five Park with David Martin. They run into all kinds of problems, and they basically got to create the park next door in order to pull off that project. But it all goes back to Musio when he was doing that. The Morellos, they go back to Musio because they bought his dirt cheap. And because they bought his dirt cheap, they basically put they got involved in the game. And then they go ahead and they take down the Deauville. And I'm looking here at a story from Miami Today, February 5th of 2004. And it says that they purchased the Deauville in, let's see here, $28 million for the Deauville and two adjacent parcels, which I think are the ones to the south where they had the swimming pool and they had cabanas and they had some little crappy retail spaces and stuff like that. But it all kind of goes back to the 90s and the repercussions that came about it. And now for David Martin to sort of get involved with this particular project, this is going to be something to watch. This is going to be something to see. I mean, basically what he's doing is he's, for $12.5 million and maybe double that for legal fees or whatever the case may be, he's got a shot at really getting into something good. I don't know. I'm not a judge.
Even if he has to pay $10 million in legal fees, it's still a good deal if he's able to hold on to the freaking thing. $50 million for 4 acres?
Well, he kind of bought himself a seat at the table in a family-run business that dates back from coming here from the 60s from Cuba, coming to Miami, and then going up to New York, spreading out to LA, and then building here. So he got himself a seat at the table in terms of how it was
25%
done.
seat. He got himself a quarter of the table.
Developers are gunslingers. Every single one is ready to show up at high noon with that revolver, and they're ready to do a duel, if you will. So it's the rules of engagement. Did the old lady get hustle? Maybe, possibly. I don't know. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say other than the fact that I don't see a judge overturning this, but I'm not an attorney. But I do love how it's all kind of come full circle, and it all kind of revolves around Mr. Ataidi, at least in my mind.
How do you spell Ataidi?
A-T. Let me see.
I'm just busting your balls, Peter. You don't have to spell it.
I just like to say it because blue and green diamond and white diamond, which is today's Sequoia.
All right, Peter. Buy, sell, hold on the DeVille dirt is worth the fight.
I would be a buy.
I'm a buy. Steve Ross was going to pay $500 million for that, and they got a current value of 50. I mean, just by that's all I got to know. You didn't need 10 minutes at buy, sell, hold to know that. All right.
Yeah, but wouldn't it be interesting? Wouldn't it be interesting if David and everybody else is forced to pay more than another $12.5 million to make the lawsuit go away?
Well, no, they're suing him for $100 million in damages.
Well, that's what I mean. But if according to the lawsuit,
they got to dissolve the deal and $100 million in damages. That's what they want. That's what they're demanding in the lawsuit.
Yeah, I don't see how you dissolve a real estate. I mean,
it's a deal.
I don't see how you overturn that. But I could see him getting a payout. So maybe they're saying, listen, give us each 12.5 as well, and we'll call it a day.
All right, we're both buying that tremendo lote, which is Spanish for that's a nice fucking lot. Pardon my French. So we are going back over to downtown. We're going to downtown, guys. We're talking about Mr. Simpkins and Mr. Mark Roberts. You might know them because they own a little, what's that business? What business are they in, Peter?
Cabaret. Do not call it a strip joint. 11.
They are developers, and they amassed quite the assemblage over here. Over here on my Google Earth, it's telling me just about 7 acres, 6.9-ish acres. It's that yellow highlight there, just west of the 11 Cabaret, don't call it a strip club. And right there, that tower, this Google Map's a little bit outdated, but that's the 11 tower. And then there's another 11 tower, and then there's a West 11 tower right smack dab here. They put 3 towers up. And they said, you know what? We made so much money, and Peter's going to say allegedly so much money, but I think they made a good chunk of change. And they are selling this yellow site for, we were talking about $500 million in Stephen Ross. I guess it's the number of the month. Yeah, you guessed it, guys. $500 million. That comes out to being about $70 million per acre. Peter, how many units can you put up here?
Wow. Well, if you take a look at what they did, let's just use what they're using on the West Tower, the 11 West Tower. Memory serves me correct. It's 457 units. I did a deep dive on that just recently. I want to say 457. Bear with me.
Those are all like Airbnb units, right?
Yeah, they range in primarily they range in square footage from like 300 and call it 28 square feet up to like 1,000. 90% of the complex was somewhere in that ballpark of 650 square feet, I'd say ballpark. But
so
I'll get. Yep. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I mean, I'm just thinking. We were talking about this with Dr. Marvin Dunn, fantastic gentleman. How you doing, Doc? Doctor. But the underdeck, which is this green highlighted piece here, if anybody remembers, is supposed to be this linear park that goes west to east or east to west, that way, under the signature bridge that's going to be done by the time my unborn son learns how to drive. But they're not building it because they lost funding from the federal government. $60 million was earmarked from the federal government to help build this thing. It was cited as a DEI concern, and they rescinded the funding. So we came up with this wonderful suggestion. Hey, guys, if you want to make this lot worth $500 million and you want to get in the good graces of the community and the city, cut a check. Man,
make it rain.
You could call it the Robert Simpkins, the guy. You could call it the 11 Greenway if you wanted to. Nobody cares what it's going to be named as long as this thing gets built. And then maybe $500 million is what this site would be worth, because look, it butts right up to that park. This assemblage crosses a street, for God's sakes. This could be huge. My question is, though, Peter, I'm not a commercial real estate guy. I do residential. Why not break it up into smaller chunks? I mean, who's big enough to take this down? I mean, the only people that had deep enough pockets, they seem to be divesting out of everything, and I'm talking about Swire.
Is Swire still here? Oh yeah. They said they're putting up that Mandarin, right? Yeah. I guess they still are around.
That's word on the street.
Yeah. Listen, I pulled up the West Tower for 11. So there's you got the East Tower and the West Tower in terms of under construction. I just heard the East Tower is not open
there's 3.
Is the third tower though a condo, or is that just a straight up hotel?
No. They're all condos.
They're all condos. So the one across the street going west, that's a condo as well.
So you got this one here. That's 11 beyond, and then this one right here, which this is just outdated, but they're building it, is West 11 West.
But it's a condo.
Correct.
Okay. So for what I call the West Tower, this is the one immediately across the street from the cabaret. Don't call it a strip joint. First one to come online. It was late in its delivery, but nonetheless, 457 units of the 457 and 65 stories tall. Effectively, the unit size is, just to give you context, just so we can kind of
they're tiny,
play
man.
it out.
They're like 300 square feet, right?
Yeah, I think it's 328 square feet, if memory serves me correct. Yeah, excuse me, I misspoke. 238 square feet. Up to 997 square feet.
That's like a cruise ship room.
Yeah, 90% of it. They're looking for $1,665 a foot. The people who bought in and looking to sell downstream on the resale market. I will tell you though, I'm getting calls from guys who are getting notified that they got to show up to the closing, and they got to close the damn thing, and they want to know if I can bring somebody else in to close for them, because they don't want to close. And They can't market it. They're not being allowed to market it under the contract, the pre-construction contract. So, I know there's a lot of talk. It's 100% sold and everything is great and blah, blah, blah. I'm just saying, people are reaching out to me saying, hey, do you know anybody? If we discount it, will you take this deal off our hands? So for whatever that's worth. So if we take that and we just kind of calculate it out, you figure 457, call it 450 units per site. How many towers could you get in there? Probably 3 or 4. Call it 2,000 units, just roughly 500 units a site or so, and you put up 4 buildings in and around there. That's $100 million per site, roughly $125 million per site.
So on the Peter Zalewski back of the napkin developer math, $500 million between 10 and 20% for acquisition. So you need to have a sellout of at least $3 billion to make any money on this thing.
Well, unless you pull like a Alex Vadilla. Here's a name you might not remember, but Alex Vadilla is the guy.
He's the guy who's JV'd with Rosso, right?
No, he's the one who bought all the Midtown dirt when the market went tits up, as they say in Tampa.
But he's the one doing the Midtown thing with the pickleball courts with Rosso.
Yeah. Rosso went to him and said, "Hey, can I build on your site?" So George Perez, old man Perez, before he sort of got longer in the tooth, when he put up SLS Brickell over there on Coral Way and Miami Avenue, he bought the dirt from Vadilla as well. Alex is a land banker. He buys his stuff, he sits on it, and then people have to sort of come to him for it. I wouldn't be surprised with all the cash he's made off of Midtown over the course of 20 years, that maybe somebody like him doesn't step up. But he's a shrewd buyer, so I would imagine.
I mean, $500 million is the price for a developer. Nobody's land banking that at $500 million. That's an expensive carry to hold on to.
Yeah, I suppose, but that's if you're going to get $500 million. Listen, if the market's going great, it might be worth more. I mean, if Mr. Simpkins and Mr. Roberts, if they're able to close out the 11 like they claim they are, and you see real numbers on the board, they might get more than $500 million, because now they'll have comparables. In the past, the only thing they were doing is basically licking their finger and holding it up to figure out which way the wind's blowing. So if they're successful with those 3 towers, who knows? Maybe the dirt's worth more. However, if they don't have the success they think, that $500 million, it might be going down. Daniel, you remember what they originally wanted to do with that site?
No.
So back in the day, old man Bezos, Jeff Bezos, the guy who
Oh,
moved down
is
here
that the
supposedly
Miami
to set up
Innovation
business.
Center? Is that?
Well, this was going to be where Amazon, this was the site that Amazon was considering when Dave Dyer, Palm Beach County got together.
Ah.
And then when that went tits up, like they say in Tampa, then they moved on, and old man Roberts and Simpkins, I think it was both of them, they were talking about technology. They were going to make that a billboard. They wanted that like a 50, 60-story tower billboard, and then they could advertise. They could hit the Dolphin. They could hit the MacArthur Causeway. They could hit
It's a
I-95. They
tremendous
could hit the
billboard
patients
site.
at Jackson Hospital. They could hit people over at the Fontainebleau, the Blue Diamond, the Green Diamond. Everybody could see it all around. Kind of like what you see at Paramount Miami World Center at that
Right.
point. So,
So
a lot of interesting things going on. It all depends on where the market goes and whether or not they're successful at 11. If they hit it out of the park in 11 like they're claiming, they're all over social media barking about it. If they hit that, might be worth more. If they crap out, different story.
So they took it down per biz now. They took it down in 2014, the full assemblage for 53 million. So even if they were to let go of this for I mean, because 500 million is kind of an ambiguous round number. It's not like 394 million and 75 cents. I mean, 500 million, maybe they're just seeing what they can get.
Yeah, I don't blame them. Or maybe they're reading the tea leaves, and maybe they're a little concerned about some of these units. Like guys like the ones calling me asking if they can get them out of their units. Maybe they're also getting the calls. Maybe they're thinking, okay, maybe we need to.
You getting any calls for Mercedes-Benz guys?
Mercedes-Benz, isn't that the project that, according to South Florida Business Journal, got hit with a foreclosure? Are we talking about the same Mercedes-Benz over in the Brickell Avenue area?
It's called Mercedes-Benz Places. I don't. We're not here to talk about Mercedes-Benz, but you brought it up, or maybe I brought it up. Yeah,
I brought it
yeah. So wait, are they taking you out? Are they calling you to take them out of that, or what?
No, I haven't heard anything about Mercedes-Benz, but I will tell you though, I'm getting calls about 11.
Yeesh.
Guys who have money down and they're looking, because remember, they blew their delivery dates. If you go back and look at the original development schedule, I want to say the first tower was supposed to come online in 2024. Here we are. It just came online, started closing earlier this year. So they blew the schedule by 2 years. 2 years makes a market, my friend, in terms of cycles and periods and, work from home, don't have to wear a mask and get the torque on a police car. Different world today than it was 2 years ago.
Well, what about May 25? Is that a good year? That was exactly a year ago. So this is the strongest comp for this. Pulled it. Mello. So remember, Mello took out Swire, took out Steve Ross and Swire on that Brickell City Center adjacent site. That's 2.8 acres right next to Brickell City Center for $211.5 million. So if you run the quick arithmetic, that's about what these guys are asking per acre. That sale price of two. But I know. Different submarket. If that was going to be an office tower, this is right next to a cabaret. Don't call it a strip club. I know, but that's the last big lot transaction that we've seen that could justify this price.
What about the boys over with the 520? They dropped to be next to Ken Billions.
That was a stabilized office building, Peter.
So as a result, it's going to be priced a little bit more based on numbers rather than aspirations.
Mayhaps not. I mean, if you want to go back 15 years, we could talk about Brickell City Center, but that was another era completely. We've had a little bit of inflation since then and appreciation.
Right.
But Swire acquired 5.6 acre core parcel, expanded it to the 9 acre parcel. I think all in, it looks like they probably spent somewhere between 60 and 70 million for the 9 acres that became Brickell City Center.
Yeah, I
want
to
say 2008, by the way.
Yeah, I want to say when it traded for less than $100 a foot.
Yeah, and then our leader of Swire, who is long gone now. What was his name? I forget his name. Come on.
Steve Owens.
Steve Owens, legendary Steve Owens. He put the whole thing together. And that's what we know as Brickell City Center today. But in terms of like huge land deals, I mean, who else are the big owners in this area? You got Motwani over at World Center. You got
No, I think
Mana.
Manwani's out. No, didn't Falcone buy out Manwani?
Is he completely out? Really? Oh,
That's
because
what I thought I
he's
read.
focusing. He's going to focus now on the Watson Island track.
Yeah, I could swear I read an article about that, about how Art Falcone from Boca was basically buying out Manwani. Manwani.
Interesting. Well, maybe you should buy out Moishe Mana too. Poor Moishe.
Listen,
All right.
the only thing I would tell you about this dirt is in that area, you got 10,000 existing units between the General Douglas MacArthur Causeway to the river, the bay to I-95.
How many? How many?
5,000.
Yeah, how many are delivering? 5,000?
5,000 are delivering. Now the West Tower of 11, what I call the West Tower, that one's now online. The next tower, I was told by the guy who called me up, wanted to unload his unit. He says the East Tower is not coming online until 2027. They've been notified. It was supposed to be delivered in 2025. The West Tower is supposed to be delivered in 2023, 2024,
Yikes.
according to press reports. Yeah. This is what I'm saying. When you blow a deadline in a market which is so volatile and it can be so violent, it has repercussions. It has repercussions. So if they put it on the board and they do good numbers, that dirt goes up in value. However, if they do not, that dirt is going to take a ping because people are going to have a real comp right next door. And then what do? What's the highest and best for that site? It's got to be a condo. No?
A library. A Trump presidential library. I knew that's where this was going. Maybe Dr. Marvin Dunn might get his wish, but it's going to be closer to his farm in Overtown. So, you can't win them all.
What about Mr. Witkoff's site? Old man Witkoff, he's got the site of the old Miami Arena. It's not too far from there, just down the street a little bit. That might be a good comp for you.
Oh, yeah.
Across from Adam Newman's site.
He took that down for what, 90 million? I think we talked about it with Dr. Dunn the other week.
Yeah, I don't remember what the figure was.
I don't want to keep our people. They're driving home. They want to go to happy hour. Tremendo lote, Peter. Buy, sell, hold.
What was the? I can't see the.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is that a tremendous lot?
No.
For $500 million, as it sits right now, for $500 million, is that a good lot?
No, I would be a sell.
You're a sell. I think it's a tremendo lote. I don't know if it's worth $500 million. I'm gonna hold on that. Hey, listen, guys, you want to come on the show? Maybe you don't want to be on the record. Maybe you just want to take us out to lunch. We eat at Flanagan's and that Oriental Mart on Coral Way. Just don't tell Ken Billions because he's gonna get jealous. I'm holding. You're selling. That's the show, folks. Guys, next week we have our award show. We're giving out awards. We don't know what it's going to look like yet, or maybe we do, and we're just not telling you. But this is going to be so much fun. And guys, if you're developers, we're not going to be mean. We're not mean. We're not mean. We love you. You make everything go in this city. You are an economic pillar. But when you do wild and crazy stuff, we're certainly going to talk about it, only if it's in the public record. But in any case, that is buy, sell, hold number 051. The date is May the 8th, and we will see you guys next week for our anniversary episode. Cheers, everybody.